What's up, Misfits? This is Long Island Josh here with this guy, Red.
This guy over here.
This guy. All right, so right now we're going to talk about WWE Survivor Series 2016. That just happened a little while ago. So
Just
I
that
actually didn't see this
backwards.
one, but Red did.
Yes, I did. Uh,
Okay. So,
pre-shows.
okay, just
I mean, we got pre-show stuff also. Just a couple matches that were on the pre-show.
all right, I don't know any of the pre-show, so you're going to have to do that. You have to talk about that yourself. But before we even start,
Hmm.
is this show worth buying WWE Network for 1 month at $9.99? At least if you're American.
Honestly, the last couple pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell and Night of Champions. Was it Night of Champions? No, Clash of Champions. That's what it was. Because everybody kept saying either or. But I think this one was a lot better than the last couple months of pay-per-view action. I really enjoyed it. I really did. There's some matches that were just like, it was okay, but there was certain matches that you're just like, okay, I like how this went. It's a lot
Okay,
better
because
because they tend to do main event stuff, and you're expecting something like a good main event and a good finish, but the last couple they kind of botched up, what the finishes of main events and stuff like that, and
right
so
before we even get to the main event, because I
yeah,
have actually had a few people text me about it, so there is a lot of discussion about the main event
right.
when we get to it. But before that, you want to start off with the pre-show. So, what was the
Yeah,
pre-show?
well, we'll just go through the pre-show just quickly. Kane and Luke Harper. Uh, Kane, honestly, I think he's ready to get out soon. He's just going slower every time I watch him now.
Mhm.
He's not the 1997 Kane when he first came and was moving around pretty good. But it was okay. It was an okay match, and Kane came out with the win, choke slam to Luke Harper. Luke Harper was actually was going for his move at the same time, but Kane got him in the choke slam, got him real fast choke slam, got him down, pinned him down. Everything match was done, done.
Gone.
Yeah. The second pre-show match was a six-man cruiserweight tag team match. Uh, it was Rich Swann and Noam Dar, excuse me,
Right.
and T.J. Perkins versus Tony Nese, Aria Davari, and Drew Gulak. It was pretty good, solid cruiserweight match. It was a lot better than the ones I've seen recently that's been on Raw. The crowd was a little bit more into it. Uh, it's kind of hard to watch the cruiserweight transition into the whole thing of like Big Show and people trying to get more into it because, I thought it'd be better received in the recent weeks of since it's been going, but it's one of those up and down things that I think a lot of
Well,
people.
okay. Do you think that might have something to do with the fact that the cruiserweights under the CWC, the Cruiserweight Classic, that was done primarily by Triple H. He was running that one.
Yes,
They put their characters over. They developed their matches. They had long matches. I
yes,
haven't been watching Raw, but from my understanding, Raw cruiserweight matches are 2, 3 minutes most. These guys are not getting the opportunity they had in the CWC. Like, is that a factor, you think? Why the general WWE audience
I
doesn't
think
seem to respond to them?
I think it's just like one of those special attraction shows that they were trying to make it seem like we got the
Mhm.
cruiserweights on Raw. Come and see them. We're the only ones that have it. If you want to watch it, watch Raw, and we're the only ones that have it. But then I feel like there's no story. Like I think recently they've been doing the story with with Brian Kendrick and what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. T.J. Perkins. I keep forgetting his name all the time, but they've been trying to develop a story with those two, and I feel like they succeeded in some type of way, but still I feel like sometimes like every other week they put in just like a random cruiserweight match and be like, here we got our, if it reminds me of a circus type thing. Everybody come and watch the incredible cruiserweights as they do their
Mhm.
thing, but I don't know. I think it's we talked about this before. They're trying to build it up to where these cruiserweights are flying around doing high risk moves and stuff like that. But you see these type of things coming from like Seth Rollins and even Kevin Owens. And
But exactly, their style isn't as you want me to believe it is.
yeah, because I watch. I've been watching wrestling for a very long time, and I watched during the WCW years when the cruiserweights first came. And during that time, it was a unique thing because you weren't watching Hulk Hogan flying over top ropes, and you weren't watching Kevin Nash like jumping off of anything and doing suicide dives and stuff like that. So watching people
You would
like
never see that.
yeah, so watching people like Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Ultimo Dragon, Psychosis, Juventud Guerrero, a lot of those cruiserweights that came in, they
Oh,
were.
this guy hitting all the legends.
I could keep going. I could keep going if you want me
I know you
to.
can, but yeah.
But anyways, you start seeing these guys doing high risk moves, and you're just all like, what's going on here? And they would get big pops, but like I said, nowadays it's not like how it was about 20 years ago. You got guys
No, I
like
get it, but
yeah, you guys
we
you
have
got
a more
Seth
important
Rollins and
cruiserweight
stuff.
match, so
Yeah,
let's get through this one because you're gonna repeat yourself later. I know that because
yeah.
okay,
I'm getting
so
I'm getting way into it.
it's
But
okay. So
anyways, uh, the winners of the match,
those were the
Rich
those were the
Swan.
pre matches, right?
Yeah, Rich Swan, Noam Dar, and T.J. Perkins won. Uh,
Okay, so now the pay per view started with a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor
women's.
Series Elimination match, right? It
Yeah, with
was
the
the
women's.
Raw's women versus the SmackDown women.
Yes.
All right,
And
so just so you know, Team Raw was Charlotte, Bayley, Nia Jax, Alicia Fox, and Sasha Banks, and they took on SmackDown's Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Naomi, and Natalia, right?
yes, because Nikki Bella was supposed to be the last one to come out for Teen SmackDown, but storyline wise, she got beat up. She got hit back of the head. She didn't know who did it. The cameras will look on Charlotte. Then the camera will look on Carmella because Carmella's been having a feud with Nikki Bella.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, uh, Natalia's like, "Oh, put me in the match because I'm the team captain, and you need somebody." And so it's like it's one of those things to like, who did it? Was it Charlotte? Was it
Right.
Carmella?
Now,
Or
let
was it
me ask you a
Natalia just
question.
to get in the match?
Now, let me ask you a question. Why wasn't Bayley shown? Why couldn't she have done it? Now, because I heard that Bayley apparently attacked Team SmackDown, and that doesn't seem like a Bayley thing to do.
Yeah, that's when on SmackDown, the 900th episode of SmackDown, uh, Charlotte was in the crowd, and Nikki Bella, when asserted her authority on Charlotte. Charlotte went in.
Nikki Bella, a SmackDown person,
Yes, and
right,
then
was in the ring, and then Charlotte, a Raw person, invaded, which we don't really see on WWE TV, right? The
yeah,
brands so far have been relatively separate.
yeah, and then Team Raw came out of nowhere out of the crowd and started beating up on Nikki Bella until SmackDown came out. So yeah, it's one of those things to where you don't see something like you see it from heels coming out of nowhere attacking, but seeing faces do that, it's kind of just like you're defeating the purpose. But I get it, team versus team type thing.
I'm also trying to just be a jerk, being like, Bayley in NXT was such a good girl. She should have stayed neutral on this one.
It's like a
But then
Hollywood
again, it would
Hogan
only
Hulk
be a
Hogan
few
type
days
thing.
later till she was hitting these people these women in the face. So I guess I can't really complain about that too much.
Yeah, but let me see. If I remember, the first one to get eliminated was I think it was Alicia Fox that got eliminated first, if I remember, and then I think after that it was Natalia got eliminated, or no, Carmella got eliminated. I think first. Or somebody got eliminated first. One of those. I know it was Alicia Fox and Carmella that got eliminated first from both respective teams, and then it went from that to uh, Sasha Banks actually got eliminated. I think second. I think it was or third. One of the two. She got eliminated early, and everybody was like, "What?" Everybody booed when she got eliminated. Uh, they finally got Nia Jax out and everything. It came down to Charlotte and Bayley, and they were going against the last two that was still standing was basically Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss got taken out, so it was it Alexa Bliss taken? No, one of those two, but uh, Charlotte was trying to get the tag from Bailey, but Bailey went and got I think it was Becky Lynch and pinned her, eliminated. Bailey won. They celebrated. Charlotte was mad because she didn't have the spotlight, and then she attacked Bailey after the fact, and she walked away saying, I'm the best of the out of everybody, and Corey Graves went on and said she's just asserting her domination that she is the queen of Raw. But that was
Okay,
that.
so the next match. Yeah, I mean, next, it is what it is. Next match, the Miz, the current Intercontinental Champion,
Yes.
took on Sami Zayn, and Miz is a SmackDown guy. Sami Zayn is a Raw guy,
Mm.
and I believe the stipulation was that if the Miz were to lose his Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn, Raw would gain another belt.
Yes. So the
So
belt would
how
go
was this
to
match?
Raw. It was actually pretty good. A lot of good spots. Um, the Miz getting what's his name, Sami Zayn into the figure four. Sami Zayn almost tapped, but got to the ropes. Then he's switched it around and everything, and it got to the point to where uh it was going pretty good, and then Sami Zayn got the Miz in the figure four leg lock as well, and then the bell rang out of nowhere, and here Maurice went over and she prematurely rang the bell to just distract Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn got up, thought he won because he thought he tapped out, and here the ref was just like looking over, like looking at Maurice like what the fuck, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Language.
language, and yeah, and then the Miz knew got him with the what is that move? What was it called again? The
I don't know, Misery Vaz?
no, it was
I don't know. I didn't see the
I
match,
didn't
so I'm
remember.
guessing.
What I forgot what it was called. But you got him front face buster and
Mm-hmm.
pinned him. Won. Everybody was disgusted. People on Team Raw like JBL or SmackDown like JBL were like, "A win's a win. We won." So and then uh, Raw was just disgusted. I think it was Byron Saxton and I think it was Michael Cole in this one because they were switching off on announcers. It wasn't just the same Raw
Mm-hmm.
announcers with the same SmackDown announcers. They were switching off between the announcers and everything. That way, they're not having like a big 6-man announce team. They were just switching off.
Crazy. It's too
Yeah,
many people talking at once.
yeah.
But I'm actually surprised that to hear that the Miz won. I thought Sami Zayn would win, and then it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna renegotiate and go to SmackDown, and I thought eventually SmackDown would end up with Sami Zayn. So I guess
Oh,
Sami
there
Zayn
was
goes back to
the Miz.
Raw.
Yeah, the Miz had a lot of mocking of Daniel Bryan throughout the match.
So Sami Zayn returns to Raw, a loser now,
Yes.
and he's already not popular with Stephanie
But then they
McMahon,
they had
the
a they had
GM
a
of
yeah
Raw.
they had a an interview between well no, it was an interview just like a backstage discussion between Mick Foley and Steven McMahon, and they agreed that it wasn't his fault. It was Maurice who distracted him and everything. But you never know with Steven McMahon. She's just all like, "Oh hey, I'm on your side," but then she's like, "Oh, I will scratch your eyes out."
Well, so since I always thought that Sami Zayn would be head to SmackDown, what do you think that on Raw tomorrow, Stephanie or Mick Foley fire Sami Zayn for losing
I don't think they'll fire him. I think they'll just put him like in a punishment type thing. I think they're gonna treat him kind of
and versus
like
the Strowman?
yeah. I think it'll be something like how treat him like Ziggler, like how Ziggler's been for the last few years.
Rough. That's rough.
That is very rough, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with the whole Sami thing. You could say that he's been like a floater in some
Hmm.
ways.
I don't think Raw's done him any justice. But what do you think? What do you think's next for the Miz?
I think the Miz, the way he is, I think he's gonna go on SmackDown and be like, "I'm the one that won one of the matches, and I'm better. I'm the one that should represent the company. I should be the face." And he's just gonna get into like Daniel Bryan's face about it. And
Hmm.
I'm thinking that this whole thing's gonna be a build up to where it's gonna be like Daniel Bryan's gonna just come out of retirement and be like, "I just want to fight you one last time" and stuff like that. And
Do you really think that this leads to a match where W clears Daniel Bryan?
could be, could be just like a one time match thing.
I I don't think it's happening. I think WWE truly will not give Daniel Bryan another shot at wrestling. And if it was possible, I wouldn't waste it on the Miz. I try to bring Punk back, build Mania against that.
Yeah,
Punk,
but
Punk, and
you know how stubborn Punk is though.
I don't know. I think in a world where Daniel Bryan is allowed to come back for one final match, Punk comes back for that match. But that's totally off topic.
Very off topic.
All right, so the next match was Team Raw took on Team SmackDown in a 10 on 10 traditional Survivor Series tag team match,
Yes,
elimination tag team match. Okay, so a lot of people in this one.
a
You're gonna
lot of
have to tell
people.
me how this looked, just visually with all these tag teams around the ring. But Team Raw was the New Day, so that's three people, right? Unless
Yes.
only
Well, no,
two
they
of
only
them
used two of them.
represent. All right, was it Biggie and Kofi?
It was yeah, Biggie and Kofi, while
Okay,
Francesca
so
and Xavier Woods was on the outside.
and they were also joined by Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Club. Also, Sheamus and Cesaro. Do they have a tag team name or no?
No, they're together. They're like a dysfunctional tag team together.
And you had Enzo and Big Cass, and they were also with the Shining Stars, which are Primo and Epico.
Yes.
Spoilers,
For any of you guys
right?
that didn't know,
So they took on Team SmackDown, which was Heath Slater and Rhino,
right?
the Hype Brothers, Zack Ryder and
Yeah, hype.
Mojo Rawley. Get hype, Long Island, Zack Ryder. I got to be a fan.
There you go.
So American Alpha, Jason Jordan, Chad Gable. I'm so happy they got brought up. By the way, they were also joined by the Usos and Breezango. So how how is this match?
They all came out, respective of their own, entrances and everything. Genzo and Cass did their whole stick of, you know, you can't teach that and everything.
Mhm.
Match came. Brizongo, I think it was Fandango that was in there first. Yeah, he was in there first, and he got eliminated quick by uh, Biggie and Kofi Kingston. Uh, he got eliminated real quick, probably in the first like 10 seconds, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, the New Day got eliminated real quick by who did they get eliminated by? They got eliminated by somebody. I can't remember who they got eliminated by.
But let me ask you a question. How
Oh, the Usos.
how did it look visually with that many
That was a
teams on
lot
the
of people.
outside?
It looked like a big old lumberjack, but everybody's standing up on the ring apron. I think
Did
that's
the
why they
camera
had
guys
a
have to be like,
yeah,
tap on the guy? Excuse me, I need to get a shot.
yeah. I think that's why they kind of like had like some fast eliminations at the beginning, just to thin out the crowd a little bit around the ring. But I know that the Brizongo they got eliminated real quick. Right after that, uh, the New Day got
Wait, was the
eliminated.
rules if one person from the team got pinned, the whole
Yeah,
team was
the
out,
whole
or?
team is out. Yeah. So
Oh, okay. See,
say,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So Brizongo got eliminated first. Not like shortly after that, the New Day got eliminated. Where the Usos, I think eliminated. I think it was either Kofi or Big E, but then they got eliminated real quick also,
Mhm.
and so all of them left. And then it was pretty good. I think the Shining Stars got eliminated next, and then the Hype Bros got
Mhm.
eliminated, And so I think you had Rhino and it was Rhino and Slater and the Usos that were the last two teams for SmackDown. The last two teams for Raw was I think it was Enzo and Cass and no, it wasn't Enzo and Cass. It was somebody. But I know the last team for Raw was Sheamus and Cesaro. And then the
Mhm.
last two teams at the end of it was Sheamus and Cesaro against the Usos. And at the end of the match, Cesaro got one of the Usos in sharpshooter, Canada, Toronto, the whole Bret Hart thing.
Mhm.
Got him into the sharpshooter. The other Uso was trying to come in and help, but Sheamus bro kicked him out of the ring, and then the Uso ended up tapping out, and Cesaro won with the sharpshooter in Canada to win for Team Raw.
Did they show his former tag team partner by any chance?
No, they did not show Tyson Kidd at all,
Tyson Kidd.
um, but Cesaro was moving around like kind of like how Bret Hart used to pander to the crowd a little bit, and then there was a guy that was dressed up like Bret Hart who had like the Bret Hart glasses, and
Right.
Cesaro stood right next to him and had put those glasses on and everything. Everybody was cheering, big pop to that. And that was the end of that one.
Now,
So
Raw and SmackDown had built this matchup for many weeks.
yes,
Was it worth it? Are you happy with the way it all ended?
it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't really expecting the Usos to stay all the way to the end, but the Usos are a veteran tag team compared to some of them. Well, most of them that have been in there. So
Yeah, as you said it, it made sense to me. The Usos may not be as popular as they once were, but they are a solid tag team, and I could never be like, oh, doesn't make sense for them to be at the end.
yeah, and you know everybody was all like, "How come Rhino and Slater wasn't at the end?" But you know, I agree with the whole thing. They're not a polished tag team like the Usos, and
Hmm.
I think Sheamus and Cesaro they proved to be a powerhouse as a tag team. I mean, respectively, they do pretty good singles wise, but put them together if they gel together, which they had been gelling together for recent weeks and stuff like that. And why not have those two be at the end? So I was not disappointed in this one at all.
Okay, so good. So the next match was another interpromotional match, and it was for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. The current champion, the Brian Kendrick, took on from Raw, took on SmackDown's Kalisto,
Yes,
and in this match, the stipulation was if Kalisto from SmackDown would beat the Brian Kendrick from Raw, then
reading is
SmackDown would
tough.
get the. It is. It really is. If Kalisto wins, then he would bring over the entire WWE Cruiserweight division from Raw to SmackDown. So before this match even happened, this is like one of the matches I was looking forward to because I think that these guys will be better on SmackDown than Raw. So what happened?
Mm, basically, it was not so bad of a match. It's just the thing is that it was a pretty solid match between the two. It's the crowd factor that was not in there. A lot of people were just like kind of. It was one of those crowds to where they were just quiet through the whole thing, and they were doing pretty good spots. They were doing pretty good big spots. There was here and there. There was a one holy shit chant going on for Kalisto and everything. But it was a good match, but it's just one of those things to where the crowd is not into it as much. And it's for the thing about it is that they do all these big high spots and stuff like that, but the crowd's already seen these from everybody else that now that does it now. And so it's just one of those
Well, what I
things.
was going to say is that I'm actually really surprised to hear you say that because this is a Canadian crowd. This is a smart crowd.
Right.
This is a crowd that probably watched the CWC. These guys watch WCW. They're aware of the cruiserweights. They watch ECW. They're aware of the cruiserweights. They probably watch TNA, so they're aware of the X division. I thought there would have been a lot of crowd support for this match. I'm like surprised to hear you say that. It seemed from your perspective that the crowd wasn't into it.
Yeah.
You
It
know, I
it was like
I
that.
keep hearing that Raw doesn't do the cruiserweight division any justice really.
Yeah,
Is that a factor here?
I think it is a factor to this one. Uh, they try to build like like I said, they try to build it up like a whole circus show. Like, come
Mm,
watch our cruiserweights because we're the only ones that have it. But give them like I understand the whole change of the lights to purple, having cruiserweights in purple all over like the TV, like the whole Titantron and everything. I understand, trying to put them over by switching the ropes out to purple, but they put they put everything that they can into the match. It's just that they're doing stuff that people, like we said, heavyweights are doing,
mm.
and people are just all like, we're not interested in these two. I think it's just also the star factor. Brian Kendrick, yeah, is a veteran. He's been around for a very long time. Kalisto was over for a while, but I think it's just a whole. We need to do more character development. We just can't just throw these guys out there because they're like Smack or Raw has cruiserweights. Just throw them out there and have their own segment. It's like do some character development. Yeah, you've seen these guys at the cruiserweight, the whole tournament and everything, but it's the whole character development. I think the people weren't invested in the whole character wise of.
Well, do you say that because I mean you've been watching week to week? I haven't, but you've been watching week to week, and this is a Canadian crowd. You know what smarky crowds are like.
Yeah,
What do you think the Canadian crowd was tonight? Because honestly, I'm actually, I keep saying it, but I'm shocked that the crowd, from your perspective, didn't react positive to this. Because I would think it's a smart crowd. It's one that has the network, so they're watching NXT, they're watching the uh, Cruiserweight Classic.
right.
Why did they not respond to this match? You think?
I don't know. I think it's just one of those to where there's always one match in a pay per view where you're just like you don't know if you should.
Maybe it was placement because
I think it could
I'm
be
literally
placement
just trying to find a reason why
because
this match.
it was the crowd was loud for because this was right after the tag team match, the tag team
Mm.
elimination one, and so there was big pops, a lot of like people going crazy for it, and after the match that goes after that, it's like having an Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match. People didn't want to follow that match because people would be so much into that match to where whoever's
Do
up
you
next
think the
after them.
placement of this match hurt it?
Yes, I think this should have been honestly. I think this should have been at the beginning of the show because people are
I won't
fresh and
disagree with
ready.
you. This is one of the matches that really had my attention. So again, I'm shocked to hear that the crowd wasn't responding like they should do, like
Yeah,
it should have been. But
but
I, I,
I think like I think it should have been at the beginning of the show, not necessarily on the pre-show. It should have been at the beginning. Should have been like the first match because everybody's fresh, everybody's ready, everybody wants to see the show go on and everything. And I think this would have been pretty good at the beginning.
so the winner of the match was.
The Brian Kendrick.
Now
The
I thought
reason
Kalisto was gonna win.
the reason why this is the reason why is because Baron Corbin came in, and if you have not been watching, Baron Corbin got taken out a couple weeks ago by Kalisto, and so Baron Corbin came in out of nowhere, hit the Brian Kendrick, so disqualification. Brian Kendrick wins, but then he was going after Kalisto and everything, so that's the way the match ended. Um, they went to the
So
backstage
Baron
with
Corbin cost SmackDown the
yes,
cruiserweight division.
and then they went to the backstage. Daniel Bryan was pissed off and was like, "Why would you do that?" It's and Baron Corbin goes, "I don't care." Like he just came right out and was like, "I don't care." He goes,
You think this is something to get Baron Corbin fired off SmackDown and brought to Raw?
"I don't know." The Dan Bryan just told him, "Well, I'll handle you on Tuesday. Right now, he's got some other things to do." But the way Baron Corbin says, we don't need these guys. I did you a favor. We don't need these little guys. We don't need these guys on SmackDown. They're little pests. We don't need them. So I'm interested to see where this is gonna go. I think there's gonna be a feud between Kalisto and Baron Corbin. David and Goliath. Good old David and Goliath story.
All right, so moving on. This is the semi-main event, and it was the traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, and it was Team SmackDown versus Team Raw. Now, do you want to go down uh, who Team Raw was or Team SmackDown? Because I'm gonna pick a side, and I feel like I want to pick Team SmackDown. I bleed blue, so I hope SmackDown won. I don't know spoilers on this match. I do on the main event, but
Okay.
I'm gonna hope SmackDown won here.
This was actually pretty good. Actually, I really like this. The allotted time of this match was an hour, over an hour. Gave an hour to this match, dedicated an hour to this match, and
Like, do you mean that like when the match was introduced, they said this is a whatever one fall? I don't know how many it
yeah,
was,
one
but
elimination style, but the elimination style match and everything. But I thought it was only gonna go for like 30 minutes or so, like fast eliminations and whatever. But they took their time with this one, which you think if you drag it out for an hour, it's like people won't be interested in it. But people were,
I'm honestly surprised that you're saying this went that long because
yeah, because
I
people
thought this
were
pay-per-view
invested
was
in
gonna
this the
be
whole way.
fast matches and nothing really added up.
Yeah, because you got for Team Raw, you had Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman. Team SmackDown, you had AJ Styles,
That
Dean
is one hell of
Ambrose.
a team.
That is actually a pretty good team. But then you also had AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Shane McMahon, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton for SmackDown. And uh,
Why Shane? I don't get why.
Daniel Bryan just came right out and just like, I picked Shane McMahon to be on there, and Shane McMahon would like look like he was surprised. He's like, what? Like what?
Why not bring up someone from NXT? I don't know. Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura.
But
I don't know. I'm sorry, I coughed there. I don't know what happened.
I think you did. I think you catching something. I think it's that division flu.
Oh man, I feel like I'm getting that strong style. I don't know.
But it was a pretty solid match throughout the whole thing. You saw Kevin Owens and AJ Styles go at it for a little bit. Then Chris Jericho got a big pop, Canada. You thought that Kevin Owens would get a bigger pop, but Chris Jericho was more over with the fans than anybody else. And
Wow. You know, I'm such a Jericho mark, but Kevin Owens, come on, man.
yeah,
Canada,
I mean,
represent the boy that
Chris Jericho got the biggest pop. If you want to say who got the biggest boos in the whole building, Roman Reigns hands down had the loudest
Good.
had the
Thank you,
loudest
Canada.
boos. He had the loudest boos over the big pop that Chris Jericho had. The boos were louder than Jericho's big pop. That's how loud that was.
Good. Those Canadians, they know what's up. They know how to vocalize. They don't want to ever get screwed again.
Yeah, and so it was a pretty solid match. The first one to be eliminated was Dean Ambrose. He got eliminated. Um, who I think it was Kevin Owens is the one that eliminated Dean Ambrose, and then the second one to get eliminated was I think the second one to get eliminated was Braun Strowman. He was the second one to get eliminated. Then the third one to get eliminated after that, after the fact, was uh oh, it was somebody came. I forgot who it was. I think it was AJ Styles or somebody pushed Kevin Owens off the ring apron. Kevin Owens got pissed off, got the list of Jericho, and smacked it over someone's head. And Kevin Owens got eliminated by disqualification using the list of Jericho. And then Chris
Oh,
Jericho
I like Kevin Owens. Why would you let yourself get disqualified like that?
and then Chris Jericho was like looking at Kevin Owens like, why would you use my list? Because he had that like look on his face like his life's work was like destroyed, and he was picking up the pieces and everything. And then, if I remember, I think it was Randy Orton who eliminated him, or didn't RKO to him, but I think it was AJ Styles that eliminated him. And so you had the last two guys of Raw, Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins. And the final guys on Team SmackDown was Shane McMahon, AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton. So it was 2-on-4, and you had some pretty good high spots. Before Braun Strowman got taken out, um, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton went after Braun Strowman, and they held him on the table. Bray Wyatt was yelling at Shane McMahon, telling him to get up, go up on top, do the flying elbow drop from the
Mm.
top rope all the way to the table, which he did, and that's how they took out Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman was about when he got eliminated. Braun Strowman, they threw in. I think Shane McMahon was the legal man. They threw Shane McMahon back in, but then Braun Strowman was trying to beat the 10 count, and here he was trying to get up on the ring apron, but he couldn't. Like he looked like he was having trouble getting up, and then he got counted out. To know that what's his name, James Ellsworth was hiding underneath the ring, and he was holding on to Braun Strowman's legs. While that's why Braun Strowman had a hard time trying to get back in. And then
Right.
Braun Strowman chased after Ellsworth up on top of the stage area and threw him off the stage area onto some tables. And then Braun Strowman walked off all pissed off. And so then you got, like I said, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, last two against the final four. That was Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Shane McMahon, and AJ Styles. The reason why Dean Ambrose got eliminated because AJ Styles and him got in an argument when he was still in the match. They got in an argument with each other. They started beating up each other,
Hmm.
and Shane McMahon tried to push them out of the way, trying to tell them we're a team. We need to beat this. And Dean Ambrose, that's when he got pop up power bomb by Kevin Owens when they were still in the ring. And AJ Styles looked over, saw him getting pinned, didn't even try to attempt to like break it up, and he just that's how that whole thing ended. So, like I said, last two Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and those four, and so the match went on and everything. Um, if I remember, Shane McMahon got eliminated. He got knocked out basically. He was trying to do he was doing pretty good against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns actually, and he got Roman Reigns in the corner, and he was gonna do coast to coast without no object, just a regular coast to coast. And so when he was doing that, right when he was all the way up in the air, Roman Reigns popped up, caught him in midair, and it was the
Like what?
hardest.
Superman punch?
It was the hardest. Like it was the. I want to say it was like it was the hardest. It was the hardest fall of a spear right on the apron. Like Shane McMahon hit hard, and he got eliminated by knockout basically. And so then it was down to AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton. And
Shane has always been one to take a beating for the company.
yeah, he took a big beating throughout this whole thing. And uh, and so you got AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. They were all doing pretty good with each other. Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton were working together really well, but they kept getting hit on the outside. AJ Styles was going trying to fight off both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. They decided to take the Spanish announce table and they were going to do their whole Shield powerbomb thing. Uh, AJ Styles got away from them, got back in the ring, but then Dean Ambrose came out, ran out, started beating up on AJ Styles because of what happened earlier. They started getting in a fight with each other. Security came out, trying to hold back Dean Ambrose, and AJ Styles was on the outside. And then Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were looking at the security holding them back. Dean Ambrose. Then those two beat up the security. They freed Dean Ambrose. They looked at each other. They looked out. All three of them went after AJ Styles, and the Shield got back together for that moment, and they power bombed AJ Styles to the table. Picked up AJ Styles, threw him in the ring, and Seth Rollins went in and pinned AJ Styles to eliminate him.
Well, does that mean Undertaker versus Dean Ambrose at Mania?
Could be because Undertaker says if you guys mess up, if one of you mess up, I'm coming after you. I don't care who. You know?
Uh, wow.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't see that coming. So that's a cool story for that came out of this.
yeah. And so the last two, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton. The last two, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Pretty good so far. They were going back and forth with each other. Um, what do you call it? Seth Rollins got Bray Wyatt down, and so he went
Hmm.
up to try to go for a frog splash. Right when he was mid air or way up in the air with the with the frog splash. Right when he was way up in the air with the frog splash. I can't say splash. There we go. He was way up in the air, and then Bray Wyatt hurry moved out of the way. Randy Orton came out of nowhere, RKO out of nowhere when Seth Rollins was way up in the air, got him, and Bray Wyatt, I think was the legal man. He pinned Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was eliminated. So it's Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton or Bray Wyatt, and the crowd was just at this point. The crowd, when it was just Roman Reigns, they were chanting, "Let's go SmackDown." Let's go SmackDown because it's Roman Reigns. They didn't want Roman Reigns to win.
I don't
It's
want Roman Reigns to win, so I 100% understand why the crowd, especially Toronto Canadian smart mark crowd, would be anti Roman Reigns.
yeah. And so this one went. Roman Reigns was just trying to survive through the whole thing, and then Roman Reigns got his last bit of effort. He got his last win. He was doing pretty good. He was setting up a spear for Bray Wyatt. Right when he was ready to do it, Randy Orton jumped in, pushed Bray Wyatt out of the way. He got speared, and then Bray Wyatt jumped up, grabbed Roman Reigns, did Sister Abigail to him, and pinned Roman Reigns. And then the last two were Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton to win for SmackDown. And everybody was just popping, and it was just crazy. And I don't know. I think honestly, I'm glad that Bray Wyatt lasted as one of the sole survivors because he hasn't really been winning a lot of matches, and I think this is pretty
Honestly,
good.
I thought that this match would end with AJ Styles being the team leader and the reason why SmackDown won. So I'm
Yeah,
very surprised that Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton as the Wyatt family win. Now, now I haven't been really following, but is Randy Orton like 100% Wyatt, or
I
is he
think so
gonna
because
turn on
he
him?
basically like
What's going on with the
it's one
Wyatt
of those things
family?
to where you don't trust Randy Orton. Everybody gotta understand you don't trust Randy Orton. People be like, oh yeah, he sacrificed
Don't
himself.
check the Viper.
Yeah, everybody's like, he sacrificed himself. Of course he's gonna be with them. Like he's 100% with them. It's like this is Randy Orton. Have you not seen the history of Randy Orton since he first came? You don't trust Randy Orton. He's a snake. You don't trust a snake. You could have a snake as your
Never
pet for a
would.
long time. You can have a snake as your pet for a long time, but one day if he bites you, you're gonna be like, "What? Why'd you bite me?" Because you don't trust a snake. Kind of went off there for a minute, but yeah, that was the end of that one. It was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed that one. It went for an hour, but it was an hour of a lot of good spots, a lot of good, matches going on through the whole thing. It was pretty good.
All right, so that brings us to the main event.
Yes,
It is my guy, Brock Lesnar,
yes,
the Beast incarnate, Brock
yes,
Lesnar, takes on the retired for 10 years Goldberg, right?
right. But
Okay, so obviously, before we get into any spoilers, Brock Lesnar, the Beast incarnate, the man who defeated Undertaker, the man who has beaten Triple H, anyone who's been at anyone, clearly and hands down defeated Goldberg, right?
right,
Right?
right,
Good. I don't want to hear any otherwise, right?
maybe.
Mm, don't I really have.
Right.
Brock Lesnar won this match, right? You're not
Mm-hmm.
talking. I don't like that. What's going on?
I had to take a drink of water. I had a little
I don't like
parched.
this. Okay, I just want everyone to know. Brock Lesnar, the NCAA champion.
Let me break this down for you. The reason why
Hold
this
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. The legitimate UFC heavyweight champion beat Goldberg, the man who is 50 something, hasn't wrestled in years, was handed a victory when Brock decided, I'm angry, so I'm going to leave. And I'm Brock Lesnar, Mark. So you leave Brock Lesnar because you're right, and Vince is mean, right? So Brock
well
Lesnar, yeah,
technically they both
legitimate champion,
technically
heavyweight, all that, gets to mess around with Sable because that's
well
honestly
who wouldn't
that's a
want to?
bragging point.
Yeah,
Oof, what?
I said who wouldn't want to? I mean, come on.
Exactly. For a second I thought, why would I want that? And I'm like, what are you? What? Okay, but clearly you're not. This is Brock Lesnar.
No, that's if you're talking about.
He messed up Goldberg, right? I, I honestly, I stayed away from spoilers. He messed up when
Let me explain this to you. The reason why
he
this made.
lost to Lesnar because Lesnar's legitimate and all that, right?
Let me explain this to you why this makes sense because I know a lot of people are like looking at this and it's the age of the things are different nowadays when since
Oh,
Goldberg was
what are you trying to say?
things are different. This match
That
came in.
that
Goldberg
doesn't
had
make sense.
Brock Lesnar came in. He looked like he was pissed off his entrance and everything. Brock Lesnar was
When is
being
he
Brock
not?
Lesnar. Goldberg
Brock
had his
Lesnar, the man who goes
Brock,
into the forest, the
Goldberg had
Canadian forest, and he hunts down animals. He kills them. Maybe he makes jerky out of them. I don't know, but if he did, I would buy it and I would eat it. And I'd be like, God damn, this is an animal that was killed by Brock Lesnar.
but Goldberg came out with his old entrance that he used to do. He hit the door,
A great
came out,
entrance. I get it.
and he came
It's
out.
Goldberg. He's
This is
unstoppable. The police don't like him. They have to escort him because he's such a crazy lunatic. I get that, but
this is
Lesnar, UFC champion. He's the guy, right?
this is the thing is that Goldberg. I'll let you know why this makes sense. It does make sense. It really does
I
because I
don't
know a
like
lot
it
of
either.
people don't.
I'm starting to doubt the
But
facts.
Goldberg came out. You know they're staring down at each other. What's his name? Brock Lesnar double legs him into the corner, and then he looks at Goldberg, laughs at his face. Goldberg looks at him, pushes him down, and Brock Lesnar falls down, and he's looking up at Goldberg like, "What the hell?" But then he laughs.
What the hell?
But he laughs, and then he gets up, but he turns his back on. This is the thing. He turns his back on Goldberg. Goldberg sees the opportunity, runs right at him. You're not going to avoid somebody who's going to come at you with a spear, especially who was a former linebacker with a professional football team. And
I don't like these facts. I do
if
not like these
if
facts that you're
somebody's
stating.
you're but you're coming at me with Brock Lesnar, UFC champion.
UFC champion,
but
legitimate heavyweight champion. Come on.
but still, you're not going to avoid somebody who's coming at you with a spear, no matter how prepared
No,
you think you are.
but still.
Because he turned his back on him, and Goldberg didn't even give him a second to look. He just went right at him, gave him a hard
Oh,
spear. This was a hard spear to be.
that's
To,
an illegal spear, isn't it?
it was a hard spear. Like he hit him
It
hard.
is illegal
Brock
by
let no,
by
it
the
wasn't
rules of the
illegal.
NFL and or WWE.
It was a regular Goldberg spear, but he hit him hard. Brock Lesnar was holding his midsection and had to go to the
I don't like
corner.
where you're going with this.
He had to go to the corner, and then Goldberg went back into the corner and was readying up for a spear. Brock Lesnar was trying to pick himself up in the corner,
Get out,
turned
bro.
around
Get
again, and
out.
then turned around, didn't see him again, and Goldberg full force went right at him again with another spear, and he went
Oh,
down. Goldberg
oh no,
then
get up, bro. Get up.
Goldberg then went over, picked him up, Paul Heyman on the outside, begging him to stop. Goldberg gets
Encourage him,
him,
Paul. You know the words to say.
picks him up for the
Bring
jackhammer,
Lesnar back. Bring him
hits the
back.
jackhammer, and
No,
then
no,
Goldberg
no, he
pins
doesn't
him
hit the
one,
jackhammer.
two, three, right in the
No,
middle of the ring.
no.
Your winner of your main event in good old Goldberg old fashioned style. Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar in less than 3 minutes.
Red, are you are you Red? Are you honestly telling me that the Beast incarnate Brock Lesnar, legitimate UFC heavyweight champion, lost to Goldberg in 2016 in a jobber match? Did Brock job to Goldberg?
It's not necessarily a job thing. I will tell you. I will
I don't
explain.
like those. I don't like those words. Don't start an argument with those words.
Okay, let me let me.
Job. You job. That's what you're saying.
No, no, no. He
Brock
didn't job.
Lesnar
I
jobbed
will.
Goldberg.
He didn't job. I will explain this to you why this makes sense. And
I don't believe
if
you.
you had to
I
talk to
don't
Paul
believe
Heyman
you.
himself throughout the whole thing,
If Paul
he would
called
tell
me, I would
you.
not believe him.
He would tell you why this makes sense, and I would tell you why this
No,
makes
it
sense.
doesn't. I don't believe him. I don't believe you. This is
Brock
ridiculous.
Lesnar. Okay, let me explain
You're
to you. Brock
destroying my
Lesnar.
world.
Brock Lesnar comes in.
Brock Lesnar, former UFC champion, future WWE champion.
He's been destroying everybody. Randy Orton,
Damn right.
uh,
Damn
John
right.
Cena broke the
Damn
streak for the
right.
Undertaker. But
Damn right.
the reason why this makes sense is Brock Lesnar got cocky. He thought he was gonna come into this
Oh,
and he was gonna do the same thing to Goldberg. But
why wouldn't he?
it wasn't that way because he got cocky. He looked at Goldberg and he laughed at him. He thought, I'll give you this. Turned his back. You're not gonna. I don't care if you're a beast or anything. If a guy that size of Goldberg is running at you for a spear, you're not gonna be prepared to move out of the way if you just barely see him in a split second.
Here's my only defense. Is Goldberg Oldberg?
No, he looked actually really good. He did
Oh,
look really
I
good.
can't defend this.
He looked really good, and he picked him up for the jackhammer and got him up and slammed him down. And you can, I stand by the fact that you're not gonna step away from a spear when someone's coming at you. I mean, talk to Tommy Romo of the Dallas Cowboys. He's been injured so many
Don't you
times.
bring real facts into this.
I mean, look at Tony Romo. Tony Romo's been sacked so many times that he hasn't even played a full season for like the last couple of years now. And
Ouch,
so
you take that.
and so well, it's the Dallas Cowboys. So but there goes our Dallas Cowboys fan base. but
Maybe they didn't realize.
but this makes sense because this opens up the beast can be beaten. It's not something to where it's just like, oh, he's gonna dominate through the whole thing. This shows that he
All
can be
right.
beaten, and this was given opportunity of others to try, and this will bring more competition in other matches with Brock Lesnar. Unless
Okay.
Brock
First,
Lesnar
first
gets
off,
pissed off and then he wants to go after everybody.
Goldberg weeks ago said, "Brock Lesnar, you are next and you are last."
Right.
Will Goldberg have another match?
I don't think he will. I think he's pretty good with that one. Uh, Most likely, I think he would be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame during WrestleMania. But I
Okay,
think
so
that's his last hurrah.
if this is Goldberg less hurrah, what's next for Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar, I think, will want some type of redemption. He'll probably want to try to take it out on somebody. He's gonna be pissed off Brock Lesnar as he always been, and Paul Heyman is gonna be his mic man and tell everybody he is pissed off. He wants blood, and he's gonna get it. And
From who?
I feel sorry for whoever is next because Brock Lesnar is gonna be even more pissed off, and that's gonna make him see. This is the whole thing. Also, is that it's gonna make him even more pissed off and even more beast. So
Yeah, but you just literally used the phrase "Who's next?" And if it's not Goldberg, then what's going on here?
yeah, it might not be Goldberg. It could be. I mean, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. And also, I want to add into this is that everybody all over the whole internet. This is what I was talking about. wrestling is different nowadays because you got internet sites, you got everybody reporting on it, saying this is what's gonna happen in the match, this is who's gonna win or whatever. This brings back the unpredictability that was in wrestling before, only because all over the internet for the last week it was favored that Brock Lesnar was gonna go over on Goldberg. And it was like that since this morning also when I was looking at it. Everybody was saying Goldberg's going to lose to Brock Lesnar because that's how it
But
has to
why
happen.
wouldn't he? Red, why wouldn't he?
This
Brock
is
Lesnar is signed to a contract. Literally, Goldberg came out and said, Brock, who's next? Brock, you're next.
yeah,
And you're last.
but that
Why would Goldberg win his salute match to Brock Lesnar, a guy who they need to,
they
depend on pay-per-view
it
buys, to subscription buys. But, you know,
because this is
who is
if
WWE going to
you
bring in? Maybe
if you
Conor
watch
McGregor versus Brock Lesnar in some crazy match. But
if you watch if
why
you
would
watch
Goldberg get the win?
if you watch WrestleMania 20, this is what people thought was going to happen. They thought Goldberg was going to go through Gold or Brock Lesnar, but they were both leaving. The people knew that they were both leaving. What do you call it? Brock Lesnar was supposed to leave for the NFL. Goldberg was just gonna leave just to leave. His goal contract was down. He didn't want to
Right, this is the
sign.
reason, exactly.
But there
Brock
was,
was
but
anti-WWE. He was upset. Goldberg
yeah,
was
and
just doing
they,
his business. My last date is this date. Whatever you want to do is fine. Brock was, I'm mad. I want to get out of here.
but
You
they
want me
looked at it
to
as
do
like
whatever,
you
get out of
guys,
contract? I'll do whatever it takes to get out of the contract.
yeah. But they looked at it when they were in the match with each other. They looked at it as, well, we're gonna do this our own way, and they pandered to the crowd too much. There wasn't really a match in there. They tied up with each other for a good like 5 minutes. They were just in there just because it was last day of work,
They
and
were
why
doing
not
what they were
just
contractually obligated to do. I
yeah.
didn't see the match tonight. You did. Was this match better than last time?
This was the match that everybody was going for because it wasn't two guys that were just fed up and just ready to get out. This was two guys that were ready to just they build up for the whole story and everything, and it's one of this is the whole thing where I'm coming in with the whole unpredictability factor coming back into it,
Mm-hmm.
only because Paul Heyman sold this match so well, saying Brock Lesnar is gonna kick your face in. You will be unrecognizable. Even your son won't recognize you, and he'll end up calling Brock Lesnar daddy. And even Paul Heyman with his like, "Are you sure you want to be in this match? You're gonna be victimized." He sold it for like the last 3 weeks, and so that's where the whole unpredicted, unpredictable aspect coming into this whole thing was. People weren't expecting this to happen. People thought Brock Lesnar's gonna go over on Goldberg because he's gonna just go destroy him. But they showed that Brock Lesnar has a weakness to where he got a little cocky in this one, which he did, because he's gone through everybody. Why would you not get a little cocky going through everybody? It's like I've gone through everybody who was the top guys and everything in this company. I'm gonna come in this, and this is just gonna be a walk in the park. He got too cocky in it. He made his mistake. He turned his back on him. He got speared for the twice for his troubles, and he lost it to that factor. This also helps Brock Lesnar. It might not seem like it, but it does because it will make
I
him
want to
come
hear
back.
you explain this.
He will come back even more pissed off. He will come back as the beast that he was supposed to be, where he came when he was going after John Cena doing his where he was destroying John Cena. That was the start of the whole thing when he started destroying John Cena. And this will help Brock Lesnar to where he will be even more pissed off of this, and whoever he goes next, he's going to be even more bloodthirsty against him. On top of
So
that,
before we even get there, does Goldberg have another match?
he could have another match, but he's 50 years old. Uh, I don't see him getting in a technical match with anybody. I mean, I could see a match with Brock Lesnar because a lot of Brock Lesnar matches are fast matches as well,
Hmm.
and so I don't think he would be in there with anybody else. I think this is just his last thing all the way
So
up until he'll
what's
be
next
inducted.
for? Okay, I still don't understand why Goldberg should go over Brock. If Goldberg ultimately retires and goes into the Hall of Fame, and Brock is still around,
Yeah, it's like it's
but
the one guy that you, it's the one guy that Brock Lesnar was not able to beat.
oh, I mean, I have some friends who thought that Goldberg deserves the send off.
Yeah,
And my opinion has always been that's not what this is about. It's not who deserves to win.
I
What
think.
makes sense going forward.
Yeah, well, I really think that it helps because everybody's been complaining about WWE being too predictable with their matches, with who's gonna win and stuff like that. And this brings back the old where before internet was a factor in shows and stuff like that. People didn't know what was gonna happen, and I think was out of nowhere. I honestly, I thought when he hit the jackhammer, this is what happened with me. I thought Brock Lesnar was gonna kick out. You know, I really thought he was gonna kick out, but when he counted to three, it was that predictable, like the unpredictable, like feeling of like, oh my god, like that really just happened. Like what everybody in the crowd was like, oh my god, like everybody that they put the camera on was crazy, going crazy. They were like, oh my god faces and all that.
Mhm.
And it helps. It helps. Maybe this will be something that they would do with future matches. Don't People are gonna be like, this is what's gonna happen. This is who's gonna win. We already know who's gonna win, but they swerve them at somewhere, and it's just like one of those things to where you don't know what's really gonna happen. And
Mhm.
I hope that factor comes in with it. I really hope that that plays a factor in future shows in a way.
All right, so as a huge Brock Lesnar fan, what happened here?
What do you mean?
The match. What happened here?
What do you mean? What happened here? I thought we
What
just.
happened? I mean, everyone says this was a squash match.
I don't think it was a
Goldberg did.
squash. I don't think it was. I don't see. I don't agree with the whole job to Goldberg. I don't agree with the whole squash match. It was one of those
Okay,
things to
well, from
where.
my understanding, before you defend it, from what I've heard from a few people, is that the match started off, it, Goldberg pushed Lesnar, and Lesnar was like,
All right, wait,
"What the
hold on,
heck?
wait.
How can you be that strong?"
Yeah, wait,
So in that
hold
moment,
on.
he put over Goldberg. Then Goldberg speared him,
Right.
and Brock sold it. He got up. Goldberg speared him again, and everyone, and in my mind, and everyone else's mind, which I think is, everyone's like, "What? This is Goldberg
Yeah.
versus Brock. How is Goldberg killing Brock?" And then Goldberg hit a jackhammer on Brock, and Brock lost 1, 2, 3.
Right.
And anyone who is like me, who is a Brock Lesnar mark, who didn't grow up on WCW, didn't grow up on Goldberg, but came a few years later, and Brock's the man because he legitimized himself by winning, before even winning the UFC Heavyweight Championship. He tried at the NFL, and he tried with the Vikings, and he got very far. But if he was a few years younger, he would probably be on the team, but he didn't. So he went to UFC, and he won the Heavyweight Champion because he's Brock effing Lesnar, and Paul Heyman's great, and he helps him out, and he's a Paul Heyman guy, and CM Punk's a Paul Heyman guy, so points to Brock for that because why not? He lost to Goldberg in
Yeah.
2016.
Well, let me explain this. Actually, all right. So you were asking why or what happened, and you
You
explained it
have
to
to
me.
defend my my Brock Lesnar markness in why Goldberg defeated, if not completely destroyed Brock Lesnar.
It's the whole thing I was telling you about of Brock Lesnar exposed the weakness. Everybody has a weakness. He can be the biggest, baddest thing. Everybody, like in history, there's always a weakness in something, and you know, it's one of those things to where his weakness was exposed. Uh, Even if you look in history of like, even like mythology stuff, like Greek mythology uh, with the whole Trojan horse thing. Like people thought that they weren't gonna get through those walls and everything, and they found a weakness and everything. They got in. You know, the biggest army can have a weakness. The biggest man can have a weakness. David and Goliath. You
Mm,
know that whole thing. Biggest man can have a
right.
weakness. A beast like Brock Lesnar can have a weakness, and I think his weakness was exposed to where he. I honestly think his weakness was cockiness. He was being a little too cocky. Like I said, who wouldn't be cocky about beating the top guys and everything, you know?
No, I
And
get it. It's just it's been years since we've seen Goldberg,
but
and
it's the thing
you
of
don't
like
expect
it's
Goldberg to
it's
be Goldberg.
it's like the pre-show panel of like Renee Young, Jerry Lawler, Booker T, and Lita. Uh,
Mm,
Renee Young, Booker T, and Jerry Lawler has the same mindset as you do. You know, Brock Lesnar going in, he's gonna dominate, destroy, and everything. They all said it. Lita was the only one that was for Goldberg. She says, "You never know how this guy's gonna come out. Yeah, he hasn't been wrestling for over 10 years now, but you don't know what he's gonna bring to the table. You know, it's like one of those things. You don't
mm,
know what he's gonna bring to the table. Yeah, he hasn't wrestled for that many times, like that many years and everything, but." Guy's in pretty good shape, and you never know. You know, he's been training MMA training, like not just training, but that's his workout. Like he's been doing MMA stuff and all that. Yeah, he's gonna still be limber and move around pretty fast. You know, it's just you never know
mm.
what he's gonna come with. You know.
All right. Well, I have a problem with you defending this with your facts. Okay.
Mm, but that's how I feel about the whole thing, and mm, I still feel like it makes sense. It really does. For it benefits everybody. It benefits Goldberg because he gets his big send off. You know, he won, and it also benefits Brock Lesnar because it's just gonna make him even more pissed off, even more of a beast. He's just gonna go and um, he's just gonna start F5ing cameramen all over again like he did before.
Well, before we end, my question to you is, what's next for Brock Lesnar? What's next for Goldberg?
Goldberg, I think is this is a one-off match, his last match, and he will be going into the Hall of Fame. Right, that's what I feel like is gonna happen. Brock Lesnar,
And for what's next for Brock Lesnar?
He's gonna go against somebody that he probably like put him in some with somebody else like that he hasn't faced. Um, mm, I wouldn't know who he would go against, but who would you who would you see going against Brock Lesnar? Because
He might.
I honestly think that they're gonna tease a Shane McMahon versus Brock Lesnar match, and I think Shane McMahon's gonna get destroyed in that match. I honestly do, but it's because of when Brock Lesnar F5 Shane McMahon attacked him and everything.
Here's what I think. I think that if you build to a next important Brock Lesnar match, just like you said, I think it has to be Shane McMahon is mad at Brock. He approaches Brock live on SmackDown. Brock destroys Shane, hurts him bad, and Shane has to go and find someone who is willing to take on Brock. And I think you go to NXT, you either take Shinsuke or you take Joe. And
Right.
you bring them up with the whole point that they are the assassins to Brock. I don't know who wins that though. If it's Shinsuke, I think Shinsuke beats Brock, and then Shinsuke takes over SmackDown. If it's Joe, he might sacrifice Joe to Lesnar, but Joe takes out Lesnar. In his defeat, Lesnar goes away for a year or so.
Right.
And maybe that's when Brock's contract ends, so you don't know if you let him go for a year. Maybe he goes back to UFC somehow. Maybe he goes to Bellator. I don't know, but or New Japan. But Brock goes away for a while. Then you decide whether or not you want to bring him back because Brock is a very special talent that needs to be built in a very proper, non-WWE, let's change everything day by day type of way.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I can see somebody being called up. Just someone just to. I think they're gonna have Brock Lesnar probably in the next coming weeks have him just be pissed off and just taking his anger out on anybody. And it's gonna be the Brock
Well, maybe
Lesnar.
Brock kills James Ellsworth, and that's how you get rid of him.
But I think the next one will be Shane McMahon. But I think Shane McMahon's gonna get destroyed by Brock Lesnar. Everybody's gonna see it, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, that happened.
So, what pay-per-view do you think that is next?
I honestly think probably WrestleMania.
All right. So, ending tonight's NXT Toronto recap. You think it's worth $9.99?
NXT, yeah. NXT, yeah, for sure.
All right. So do I. So, if you have any questions, you should email us at.
Misfit Society Gaming at gmail.com. There we go.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys later.
All right, see ya, everybody.